has not been trained. There is no medical procedure to it. It is just one thing. You use the razor or the sharpened wood to just cut it off, and sometimes the girl bleeds to death. Some other times she is just left there in her infection, which may not even manifest early enough. But later in life, she has been infected, and this, of course, can tamper with her reproductive system. Sometimes the girl may not be able to bear children. Sometimes, she's infected to a point where she oozes, she has body odor and all of that. So in all, there are too many health hazards associated with female mutilation.
So, female genital mutilation, according to the World Health Organization, is a violation of women and also girls' human rights. What are we doing about it?
Yes, there's a law. There's this bad law. You're not supposed to abuse or violate any girl's rights. But the problem is not even the existence of this law. It is that most girls do not know that they have this right. So we need to work on sensitizing the girls, the parents, that the perpetrator of this victimization, this abuse, the perpetrator of this evil stands a chance of being punished. There are consequences to that, and that you, for not knowing your right, you are actually subjected to this victimization. You're suffering the lack of understanding. You're suffering this abuse because you do not know your rights. So it is important that we get the girls, the parents, the society to understand that this is a violation of the girl's rights, and that this girl herself has the right to access her rights and enjoy the rights.
Okay. Can you paint a picture for us? Can you take our minds down to the future impact of female genital mutilation on women, especially during childbirth?
Oh yes, even if let's take for instance a lady whose clitoris has been cut off. First of all through the process of intercourse, she really would enjoy anything. So she's already boxed up, and hormones are rioting because what she secretes when during orgasm is not experienced. She might end up never experiencing orgasm in her lifetime. That's one. Two, during childbirth, the organ, the reproductive organ already has been infected, I would say. So the baby that is even being given birth to, the baby that is being delivered, can actually come out infected herself. So it is important that we try and discourage this practice. The rate of infection, the possibility of being infected is really high. We have to discourage it. There's also the bleeding part. Remember,
Okay.
recall that when there's a at any point, when that injury is hurt, that point of injury might begin to bleed again. So it's possible that during childbirth, where the reproductive organ is stretched and it is hurt, that bleeding might reoccur at that point of injury, and this actually sometimes leads to death of the mother.
Health benefit associated with FGM, and some would say that this is a practice that has been there over time and it can be abolished. What are we doing to this cause? Like, what are we doing? What are we not doing right, for instance?
Well, we have yes, we are doing everything right, but of course it's a message, so it gets down, one day at a time. I would want to encourage wives of political leaders, wives of religious leaders, everywhere in the society where we have people that are responsible for others, have them to understand the hazards, the harmful effects, and the lethal effects of female genital mutilation. Not just that they should stop the practice, they have got to understand why they should stop the practice and why they have to follow through, that the practitioners themselves are being educated. They are being educated, they are being informed about the harmful effects of these practice that they undertake. It's really important that at every level, up to the family level, people are informed, they're educated about the effects and reasons they should not practice this female genital mutilation any longer.
Okay, for your own part, how easy has it been for you to pass this message and also advocating against female genital mutilation in your own quarters?
It's simple. I ask the men, uh, why would you belabor yourself, and then the person that you're having intercourse with does not even appreciate your effort, does not enjoy you? And once you say to them, they understand that, okay, it's best that this girl enjoys it along with him, so that they have a mutual session altogether. That's one too. And I ask, why would you risk your daughter's life, your sister's life, just because you want to believe, that's you wanting to believe that she might be promiscuous if that part of her body is not cut off? When you know very well that attraction is first in the mind before the body receives the message and gets triggered to wanting to have intercourse. So if you only stop the body from enjoying intercourse, can you now stop the mind from being attracted and desiring intercourse? Those are two different things. So anybody that can restrict the mind can actually control the body. Instead of damaging the girl's body, you can actually teach the girl how to control her romantic emotions. So by those two ways, I have succeeded largely in discouraging the men from patronizing this practice. But the women, I try to tell the women to this practice, that we are killing our daughters. We are destroying the society.
Can you take us through the role of education, and both here in Nigeria and also globally?
Yes, a girl that is informed, an informed society would make better choices. And the more educated the people are, the more um, they will evolve with technology, with time. They will understand the effects of any practice whatsoever. So once you're able to read and understand, once you're able to discuss effectively with your health practitioner, you're able to understand the body and how the system understand that the mind has a role to play on the body. Then you will allow people be themselves. You will allow people be themselves and exercise their rights. But until then, you may not even understand the harmful effects of any practice. So education is key. Anybody that reads, writes, understands herself, and has a future plan for herself will want to exercise her rights, will want to access and enjoy her rights. The man who understands that the girl is a fellow human being and has rights and has rights over her body will respect the rights. So education is key. Education is key. The more educated the people, the more they will understand the rights, and then the more they will respect the rights.
Okay, so don't you think that traditional heads, family heads, and also the community heads, or don't you think they play a huge role in the fight against female genital mutilation?
Like I already said, these are key players, that stakeholders in this. They're the ones who permit the practice. that the ones who will undertake this practice. So until we have been able to discourage them, the practice continues, which is why I have advocated that we take this down to them. I really go down to the villages, to the communities, to make them see in pictorial graphics what really we stand to lose when we subject our daughters to these female genital practices. So they are buying into it, and I want to encourage everyone out there that is advocating for the rights of the girl to go out and speak with these key stakeholders, family heads, community heads, political heads, so that they can actually implement the consequences of these of violating these rights.
Okay.
Security heads, that is responsible
All right.
for the implementation of this has got to be spoken to.
All right. Many thanks, Mrs. Eunice Thomas. But before you go, I would like to ask, the 2030 goal to eradicate female genital mutilation globally, how feasible do you think this is?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, everybody wants the best for their daughters, for their sisters, for their mothers. So it's possible. It's just that we pass the message rapidly and that we follow through with the implementation of the rights. It is really possible.
All right.
That's feasible. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for being a part of today's episode of Wellbeing, and we really appreciate your time with us right here. All right, so that was Mrs. Eunice Thomas, an anti-female genital mutilation advocate, and she's also a relationship expert, and she's also the chancellor of the Eunice Thomas Leadership Academy, Mrs. Eunice Thomas. And we were talking about the health implications of female genital mutilation and why we indeed need to abolish this age-long tradition. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Do remember that you could also be a part of the family by following us on all our social media platforms at Spectrum TV, or you could visit our website at spectrumtv.ng. Join us next week for another edition of Wellbeing. My name is Mary Joseph. Do have a lovely day.